Hi, I am going to start with this tutorial on the data validation, where we are going to consolidate all the knowledge you have acquired so far by basing on what is a key aspect to consider when we are going to deal with data validation. I have tailored a fake dataset here. As you can see, I have a list of a dataset of about 1977. Um, it is a dataset of individuals I pretend to be living in Germany. By count, they have permanent residence in Germany, while they are African nationals. Um, they have their nationalities in Africa. First of all, I'm going to create a list of countries where they come from. That list of African countries. I have. Let me start by Rwanda. I have Ethiopia. I have Ethiopia here. I have Ethiopia. I have Uganda. I have Burundi. Let me use a pivot table to be able to find the whole list of countries I have. Let me check pivot table. I want to use existing sheet. In this existing sheet, I use this one. Let me put the list here. Then okay, I want to use this country full, maybe this one. I want to list all the countries here. Guinea, I have Ivory Coast, I have Kenya, Liberia, I have Madagascar, like this. Mozambique, I have Senegal, I have Tanzania, I have South Africa, I have South Sudan, I have Sudan as well. I have let me see Tunisia. Let me stop by there. What I want to show you here excuse me, what I want to show you, this is the list of countries. I'm going to all the list. I'm going to show you I will be checking. This is my dataset. I assume this is a dataset I'm given. I'm going to identify all the errors existing. Let me add another country of residence. No, let me put it here. Country of residence, which is Germany. Let me check another thing I need to validate. I have to validate email. I will do it separately without using a list. I want a list of gender. I should have a list of gender. Let me use gender like this. Gender. We have gender. We should have female and male. I don't know if there is any other type of gender. Let me check if I have another list to be taken into consideration. nothing else. For we have other list city of this residence. For this case, I'm not expert in the cities existing cities in Germany. Therefore, I'm not going to deal with this column of cities in Germany. I'm going to deal with country of residence, country of origin. Let me call it like this: origin. Email address, telephone number, latitude, age. I have age here. I have latitude and longitude. What I'm going to do now is to check. I'm going to validate for the first law. Then I show you how to apply the first validated law to the entire dataset. First of all, this number, I take it as a unique number. For this column, I'm going to skip it. I'm going to validate from this gender. This gender, previously in part 1, part 2, and part 3, I've shown you how to validate a whole column by selecting a whole column, and then I validate on the whole column. For now, I'm going to do another way, another approach of validating only the first row. This second number, I'm going to validate it, then extend my validation criteria to the whole dataset. That's where I start by the row of gender. I go to data tab. I validate by using the list. I have a list here. This is the list where I use gender, and this gender, this validation list, I apply it to the second row. For given name, I don't have any. I don't think if there is any validation to be applied there. This applies to surname. City of residence, I'm going to skip it. I'm going to do validation to the country of residence. I'm going to use I can use custom. This custom I use German, or I can as well use this list. Because the list does not have many choices, I can simply use this data validation by using custom echo Germany. And the range you specify. Excuse me. Let me check. Can I use? Okay, that's exactly what I was looking. That is another type. I didn't use this way previously. I prefer to use this instead of using list and go to grab that Germany there. I use just custom, allow custom, then I type German, literally Germany. Then I go to validate for country of origin. Let me extend these columns. I double click here to extend to fit for the content to fit in the whole column. I am going to validate for the first law of the country of origin. For this column, I'm going to use a list. Because it has many choices, I cannot remember everything. I'm going to select this whole list, then OK. For email, I'm going to validate for email. I go to data validation. Then for this case, email, let me show you how you can validate your email. I'm going to use 3 criteria to validate email. Let me show you. Firstly, if my email, let me use let me do a separate sheet here, test on email validation. Why I use this? My email is looks like this: bilasafab@gmail.com. My email should have the first, it's my identification. Preferably, most of people use their names in abbreviation or in the whole part, followed by at, followed by, if you use Gmail, if you use Yahoo, if you use anything like that, it use at Gmail, then followed by dot, followed by the end of your type of email .com. For Yahoo users can use like I have a Yahoo email which reads like this: yahoo.fr. This is an email. It has a common type. If I want to validate this type of email, I need to do like this. I come and use custom. Custom gives you the right to write your formula as you wish. You write the formula, and in Excel interprets it in a restriction. I'm going to use equal and consolidates all my three criteria. My first restriction will be my email should have at. Let me show you which at is this one. Every email should contain this at. Every email, if my email should contain at, then I am going to restrict my email to have, let me use custom. I use then equal and then I am going to use function find double quotes at. I write at inside double quotes. Then I am going to show where Excel will be finding that, where email will be written. For this case, I'm using A2 because column email is located on column 1, which is A, to the low 1. I'm going to use A1. Then I close my bracket. Again, I close my bracket. This is only for the first criteria or first restriction. If I write in this, I remove this at, then I use OK. My input will evaluate to an error. Excel will give me an error. Why? Because I have removed that at. If I want Excel to remove that error, I'm going to put back that at. But for that is only one restriction. I'm going to add another restriction. I'm going to add comma, then find. Again, what I should be having in my email, it should contain a dot, this one, gmail.com, yahoo.fr. I'm going to find my email. I'm going to write like this. It should find double quotes or double quotes. I'm going to put dot and across my quote. Then I am going to close again. Sorry, I have missed something here. Let me find. Yes, I need to add where Excel is going to find that email. It is A1 as well. Always I'm going to put the first row, this one, A1, where I am putting my restriction. Then I use OK. If I remove in this email, I remove this dot, Excel will give me an error because I have restricted this cell to have at the same time should have at, then it should also have dot. The third restriction should be my email should not read like this: Birasa space fab@gmail.com. This should not be a valid email. Why? Because this space and a valid email should not contain this space. This Birasa space fab@gmail.com. For that reason, I'm going to validate this cell to be looking if my email does not contain a space in between characters. So how do I do that? I check using isError. I'm going to tell Excel whenever it finds a space between characters, it is going to evaluate that space as an error. We do that like isError bracket find open bracket double quotes space cross double quotes, then use A1. It is where we are putting my restriction. Then I cross I cross my bracket. I then cross for error. I don't cross for the third time. I use enter. Let me show you. If I put a space between CO and M and use enter, it is going to give me an error. Why? Because I have told Excel to evaluate everything similar to space between characters to error. If you put a space in your email between characters, you are going to it is going to evaluate it as an invalid input. That's how we validate our email. Let me do exactly as that case to our data set. This is a list of email. Let me typically I see a space here. Let me remove it and remove that link. To remove that link, I copy, I format paint that list like this. I'm going to validate this email column. I do as we previously saw. I use equal and open brackets. I use find double quotes at cross double quotes A1. No, it's not A. It is our email is on H. We use H2 because it is H on the second row. Then we close our brackets. I then use find. We are going to find for dot. We find dot in that H2. Then we close bracket. Then we evaluate if there is an empty space. Is error. If it finds an empty space, we use double quotes space double quotes, then H2. Then we close all the brackets, parentheses or brackets. Okay. Then we use OK. In that case, I have validated my email. Let me go to telephone number. For telephone number, it is a kind of tricky. Sometimes it depends on countries, or I don't know how to say it, but you see these numbers, they have spaces in themselves. For the first time, it is not an issue, but for me to evaluate if these numbers are valid, I will have to remove these empty spaces. You see, 0, 2, 3 empty space, 2, 4 empty space, 65 space 32. it can't be easy for me to validate this telephone number while they contain empty spaces between characters. At first, I'm going to create another column for me to validate this column. Let me use telephone fixed. I'm going to fix telephone numbers I'm going to use substitute. You see, it says Excel says it replaces existing text with new text in a text string. I'm going to replace in this text. I'm going to replace those empty spaces. These ones. Let me first let me zoom in. Let me zoom in for you to check it, to see it properly. I hope you see it. I'm going to remove these empty spaces between characters for me to validate that whole column of telephone numbers. I use substitute to replace empty space. I show Excel where the text is located. It's I2, comma, the old text. It is the text I'm going to replace. My text to replace it's a space, empty space. This is an empty space. It's double quote, space, double quote. Then I add another comma. Then I add a text to replace that empty space. My text will be empty. I add empty as double quote without anything in between. Then I close bracket. I use enter. You see, the empty space that were here have been removed. Then I scroll this to down to reflect the whole column. My case is not yet done. I'm going to copy, or let me not do it just now. I have it. Let me copy this content and paste it in the same let me back it. I have copied it. I go to home, then paste special. I select these values and number formatting. If I use it, I remove that function I have used, which is substitute. I have removed it. My case, then I'm going to validate this column using this telephone fix column. I'm going to validate as this. I'm going to do as we saw, we are going to validate only the first row, and we will extend the validation in the next part. Let me validate the first row. How do I validate telephone number? First, our telephone number, I don't know if but I think it's common. It's a common format. Telephone number should be whole number. We should not have a telephone number of 078.t. No, we have a whole number. So for me to validate this telephone number, I'm going to select my whole number here. Then my whole number will ask me how which range my number should be between. I don't know. Let me see which is the best scenario for me. Let me use between 0 and 99999. This is to make sure there is nothing left behind. Nothing left behind. Then I press OK. That is how I validate telephone number. I am going to come. If I wish, let me remove this telephone number column because it is no longer needed here. I come for age. Let me assume for my age should not, I'm going to use a whole number as well. It should not go below 0. It should not go beyond 80 years. 80. Or let me use 50. I'm just doing a rough restriction. I am going to show you how these have impact on our dataset and how we can change them in case there is anything wrong with our data validation. Then okay, for latitude and longitude, let me validate it as it should be it can be decimal. It should not go below 0. It should not go beyond 99999. Okay, then I validate for longitude. It should also be decimal. It should not go below 0. It should not go beyond 99999. This is to make sure nothing is left behind between the I'm not sure. I don't remember the highest number of longitude or highest number of latitude. I prefer to use 99999. My restrictions have been completed for only the first row. In this case, you can ask yourself why I have made the restriction for the first row and how will this validation be effective to the remaining rows. This is what I am going to show you. For those who followed the second part, or I don't remember, it's either the first part or the second part of these tutorials about data validation, I once showed you how to extend an existing data validation on one cell to other cells. You can check the first part or the second part of data validation. It is what I'm going to replicate here. I select the whole row where I applied my data validation. This whole row, what I'm going to do, I'm going to extend my data validation. The first is to go to home. I can use this copy, or I use Control C for copy. Control C. After copying my first row where I have applied my data validation, I use Control Shift down arrow to select my whole data set. I start by selecting my first row. I copy it. I then select the entire data set. After selecting the whole data set, I come here to home, paste. You see the clipboard. I use this down arrow here. Then I select this paste special. Then I come here. You see paste special, paste. We see all formulas, values, format, comments. I select this validation. After selecting this validation, I then press OK. After pressing OK, this means that the validation that was here has been applied to the whole column of gender. The validation, there's no validation here and nor here. Nor here. I have another validation here to the country of residence. The whole validation that I put on this first row of country of residence, it is now applied to the whole column of F. I'm going to check if within my data set there is any invalid data. How do we do it? For those who followed along me for the past 3 parts of this data validation, we saw that we come to data tab. We come here we click on this down arrow here. Then we cycle invalid data. You see, they tells me that Excel tells me that my worksheet contains more than 255 invalid data. Only the first 255 cells will be marked. Why? Because Excel for my version, I don't know if the newer versions have these options to extend more invalid, to show more invalid cells. But let me click OK to see all the invalid values. What is wrong with my invalid data? I see there is something wrong here. I have Germany should be okay, but let me check what is wrong or not here. I come here, I select the first row to check what is wrong here. You see Germany, there is something weird here. There's something weird here. Let me change this. I am going to change this. Let me first remove this data validation. There's something here. I'm going to clear validation of cycle. I am going to select, because I have applied the whole data validation to the whole column. I'm going to change this data validation. I see where I commit an error. I don't use custom and add one option there. I use list and then use German. I think it's like this. Let me select then invalid data to see if everything has been settled. Okay, great. You see the problem, the question that occurred before, it was I used custom instead of using list. I used list for Germany. Then you see Excel has shown me where I have some invalid data. Let me zoom it out to see even more errors. If there are any more errors, we see if Ethiopia, there is an error. Germany. We see other errors for Ethiopia. We see Germany. There is a space here. Okay. If you want to check for column, I can come here. For female, I untick only the correct one. Female, this correct. This is a correct input. Let me remove another correct input, which is male. Then I click OK. You see the remaining are the wrong or invalid data. How? Because I know what is wrong here, I can correct it immediately by using male. You see there is multiple choice already inputted available here for me to choose. You see, if I save, all the invalid data are going to disappear. Female, this is the wrong. Female, this is wrong. Let me zoom in for you to see it correctly. Female, this is wrong. I am going to select this male. This is wrong. I select male. This female is wrongly written. This is wrongly written. This is male. This is female. Wrongly written. This is male. As you see, these are typos, which are clearly we can think of what was wrong. It is like a typo or something like that. After correcting this column of gender, I am going to check other existing invalid data. I still have more than 255 invalid cells. We go for Germany. We go for Germany. We see that they are empty. I'm scrolling down. They are empty. Let me use down, page down. We have some few invalid data to the country of residence. I'm going to use view to keep seeing my column once I scroll down. But without delaying, I'm going to select to only deselect German, which is correctly written. I'm going to deselect this and remain with all the wrongly written input. This is German. I know this column should contain German. All the wrongly recorded results are going to be replaced by Germany, like this. This is how we do it. Or I may copy this one and go down. I'm going to use shift down arrow and select the whole column, and then I use paste. I first I have selected the first row, which is correct, and I paste to the remaining content in the column. Then I save. If I save, all the invalid cycles are going to disappear. This is the correction to the column of country of residence. Then I go to the country of origin. I again go to data tab. I cycle invalid data. I still have more than 255 invalid data. Let me see. You see, like Ivory Coast is written wrong. I don't know what's wrong here. Maybe there's double space. Yes, it's double space. I'm going to it asks me to correct it immediately. Yes, there is a which is not needed here. Let me select all the wrongly written. For this we have multiple choice. I will have to scroll everything down to check. There's no quick way to correct everything. There's no quick way to correct everything at once. I'm going to correct it each cell individually. This is Ethiopia, like this. I am going to correct. There is another error here. Ethiopia. This is Ethiopia. I'm going to correct another thing here. Guinea. This is Guinea, not Guinea. I'm going to correct another thing here. Let me see which Guinea. That Y is to be removed. Let me see if there is any other thing. Let me scroll, zoom it out to see many invalid data at the same time. Is there any other thing here? Any other thing to correct? Morocco. Okay. Morocco. I see. Morocco does not have any error in writing, but probably my Morocco is not on the list. This is where I want to emphasize. Morocco is not on the list I have created. How do we change this? Morocco is written in the correct grammars, but this Morocco is not on the list where which I took for validation. How do I proceed with that? I select this whole column of validation, this list of validation, I turn it into a table. I go to insert tab, as you saw in the previous part. In the part 3 of this series of videos, these tutorials, we saw how tables are handy to update automatically when we want to when you find another input we have forgotten in the previous. I change this list into a table. My table has headers, then okay. After turning my list of validation into a table, I will have to add Morocco here. Morocco, I think it's written like this. Let me check if it is correct. You see, the Morocco I had cycled as an error, the error has been removed, because when I turn my list of inputs into a table, if I add anything here, it will be updated in the whole dataset. And if I select the whole list, you will find Morocco somewhere. Let me zoom in. Let me first zoom in for you to see properly. If I select like this, where is Morocco? Morocco should be somewhere. Why I don't see it? Let me encircle my let me see if Morocco is still in invalid data. Yeah, did not update. Let me check what is the issue. The issue should be let me African change this title. I'm going to change this title to African countries. There's something I need to change here. I need to check my table's name. It is table 1. Let me use Africa. I'm going to use Africa. Then, as I told you before, when working with computer or technology, you need to have some kind of patience. Sometimes things doesn't work in the way you expect them to be. You need to find out what is the issue behind, then you correct it along the way. My issue, I see my issue I need to change my data validation for the whole column. I select this whole column. I go back to data validation, data tab. I go for data validation. I then change this validation I used table Africa. Is it? Yes, I think it's Africa. I use indirect function. We saw it in the previous part, which is part 3 of data validation. For those who have not checked it yet, you can go back for part 3, where I explained how this function works. I use Africa. It is the table name. Then I use this square. Is it square bracket? I don't know. Maybe it is how we call it, square bracket. Let me use on screen keyboard to show you how it look like. This one, is it square bracket or maybe square bracket? I don't know. Let me not spend a lot of time on it. Africa square bracket, then double quotes. I use this table name, which is, I use the table name, which is African underscore countries, double quotes, then square. I close my square bracket and my bracket for indirect function to close, then okay. It evaluates for an error. What is the error? Let me check. What is the error? What is the error first to get around? Let me check what is the error behind. I cut this function to check my table name. What is my table name? My table name is African name. What is the issue behind? The issue behind, what is the issue behind here? I go back to data validation. There's something wrong I'm doing here. What is the issue behind? Let me check. And there is something wrong here. There's something wrong here. African countries. Okay. Let me go back to my dataset where I used it. I go back to find it. There's something little, there's a small error I'm committing. I go back to my channel to find the dataset I shared with you. My channel can be found like this one. I think the dataset I put it on part 2, this one. I'm going to check where I'm making an error. Excuse me for the disturbance. I'm going to find the dataset I used. This is the dataset I used. Let me wait a little bit for me to download the dataset. I want to see where I'm committing an error. In technology, you can't memorize everything. What you have, you have to do, you need to be sure where you find your thing, your code, your everything. It happens that you forget how you did something previously, but if you happen to miss or to forget your code, the code you used, you need to be aware. You need to have an idea where to find where you need to find the correct answer. Let me find if it is here. Is it here? I worked it. Is it here? Let me check. No, not this one. Is it this one? I don't know what's wrong. Maybe this one. See this one? Yes, I got it. This is the error I'm committing. Yeah, okay, I got it. Double quotes should not go inside here. It should go between. This whole text should be in double quotes. That is the error I was committing. Yes, I got it. I have copied my excuse me, I have copied my indirect function. I copied it. You see the error I was committing. These double quotes should not come here, but rather should come here. This is the error I was committing. I removed this. I put it here. This is the error. This is the fatal error I was committing. You see, whenever you are working with the computer or technology, you need to have kind of patience. This is how those programmers happen to survive in their field. You cannot expect everything to go smoothly like you want. Sometimes you will be doing your code that happen to run smoothly, but today you run it crashes. You find some bugs. If you find a bug, you need to debug. You go step by step by finding out what is the issue behind. Okay, we come back to our today's business. I have updated my data validation. I then go back to cycle invalid data. I click OK. I zoom out to see where they are remaining. This should be Guinea. I see what is the issue behind. I use Guinea here. I go down to find other issues. I use function down. Okay, let me select that Morocco we saw with issues to see if it has been corrected. I cycle again, invalid data. Okay, you see Morocco has been corrected because we updated our um, our table here, and updated our data validation restriction criteria. I check for other if there is any other invalid data on this column. Okay, I see there is Senegal. Are you sure Senegal? I don't have Senegal here. Let me find Senegal. Sorry, don't know what is the issue here. I see Senegal to probably is Senegal an issue. Let me check. I don't know why my Excel is delaying. It is going. I don't know what's wrong with this. Let me my Excel starts to slow down. Don't know why. Let me scroll down to find, or let me find Senegal to check if there is any issue with it. Senegal, any issue? Okay, I remove data validation. I use control save. To save, I cycle invalid data. Okay, Senegal has no issue. Okay, I was expecting Senegal. There was no issue. Let me check for another issue. There is something issue here. Okay. Let me find if there is anything weird here. Liberia, Morocco, Namibia. Let me find for Namibia. I don't know if Namibia is on my list for validation. Sorry. I clear validation cycle. I cycle for Namibia has issue. Let me update my list here. I update my list to include Namibia. I check here to see if it has been removed. Let me control S to save. Let me cycle again in my invalid data. Okay, Namibia has been updated. Let me find if there is any other thing to. Okay, you see things like Rwanda. These are the issues I need to correct. I use Namibia should be removed. Okay, as you see, this Rwanda should be replaced by this Rwanda. Copy and paste here. Yes. Is there any other issue? Let me cycle other invalid data. I still have more than 200. What is remaining here? Let me see. Senegal, South Africa, South Sudan, Somalia. Probably Somalia has issue. Let me write Somalia here. Okay, Somalia. I'm going to see if Somalia is there. Yes, Somalia has issue. I add it here. Somalia. Okay, I find another issue. Is Somalia correct now? Yes, it has been corrected. Then I find another issue, I don't know. Tunisia. Okay, is Uganda there? Is Uganda here? Uganda is there. Tunisia, I have issues with Tunisia. Tunisia here. As you see, uh, Tunisia here, this is okay. I need to correct this Tunisia by removing this A. Okay, Tunisia. Then I check if Tunisia is here. Tunisia, yes, it is there. I check another error. Do we have a country like Madagascar, Mozambique, Namibia, Rwanda, Somalia? Okay, there is Chad here. This Chad should be an error. Probably an error. Let me cycle. Yes, it is an error. I have to update this table of mine. I go back to check if it has been corrected. As you see, when we are doing data cleaning, we need, you see, Chad has been corrected. We go back to check other issues. I see Rwanda here. I see something weird here. Is it Ara? There's something here. Lambda. Okay. This is Rwanda. Okay. I save it. I want to change Chad, Tunisia, Chad. This should be changed. This should be changed for H, I think. This one. Okay. I need to still have many invalid data. Where do they come from? Tunisia here should be corrected. This one should be corrected. Uganda, this one should be corrected. Tunisia should be corrected like this. Tunisia like this. Uganda like this. Uganda. Okay. For this column, we shall do the same. To correct all the remaining. Like this Tanzania, you see, it needs to be changed. South Africa, Nigeria. Let me see if I have Nigeria there. Let me cycle first. Is Nigeria? Okay, Nigeria is not on my list. I add it. We do this until our errors have been corrected. For this column, I'm going to leave it as it is, but to go let me remove this Nigeria and remain with this Tanzania. I remove that Q by A, replace it by A. Okay, as you see, my data validation here, it seems to be this column is okay now. We proceed with another column, which is email address. For email address, as we saw, our email address should not contain at. Should contain. It is restricted to have at, which is this one. Let me zoom in my column. My email column should have this one at, should have dot, at least should have dot, should have this at, and should not contain a space. We have done that restriction for this whole column. Let me encircle what are the invalid data on this column. I'm going to see what is the issue behind and correct. As you see, this is an invalid data. What is the issue behind? As you see here, we have a space. This space should be corrected. This space, I need to remove it. As you see, if I move it, the color has changed. No need for that. I go back to encircle my invalid data. If I cycle invalid data, you see this space should be removed. You see here I have a space, should be removed. You see here I have a space as well. I have what is the issue behind here? Okay, I have a space here. I move it. For the issues of spaces, for me to save a time, let me use email fix column. Email fix. I want to remove the whole space in this column at once. I want to use substitute as we did previously. I want to replace this space by empty space, by empty thing. I'm going to replace the whole existing space. As we see, sorry, this is an error. Okay, I have removed the whole space. Let me again encircle all the invalid data. Let me see where. As you see, we have here, this is invalid data. For this case, I'm going to come back here for that case, but I want to check if everywhere that I have error related to space has been corrected. This is related to art. There is no issue with it is issue, but I'm going to correct it after this case. I'm going to check if all spaces have been removed. As you see here, this has been marked as invalid data, but for my email fix, space has been removed. For that case, I am going to copy this whole column. Then I'm going to paste it special. Okay, to remove the function. Then I delete this whole column to remain with email, which has been fixed. Then I again find if there is any other remaining invalid data. I see there are some few. For this, let me find wherever I find art, probably whenever we have art, probably there is someone who have written art instead of using this sign to say art. I don't see anything like that in this column. Okay, let me save it. Probably this column has been fixed. I don't know. I think. Let me go. I'm going to another column. If this column has been corrected, my computer is slowing down. My computer is slowing down. Excuse me as I wait my computer to be available. It is loading. It is taking long to load. Probably it's because we have used um, a huge dataset with many laws. If we have a huge dataset, it can be it can take a long time to load. This is one or among some weaknesses of using spreadsheet or Excel. Excel, it has issue of taking long time to process a big amount of data, which is different from some programming languages like Python, like R. I see it has come back. Let me see for this. I think this column has been corrected. Is it okay? Okay. I don't see anything left behind here. Oh, I have filtered out. Okay. Okay, I don't see anything weird here. Okay. Anything? Nothing special here. Okay. Let's assume this column is okay. Let me see for this column of telephone number, I am going to cycle invert the data. You see what's long? I don't know what's going on here. I see this data should be valid to my expectation, but now what's long? Let me check what's long with this column. You see this 0, 2, 3, 24, 65. Okay, I don't see anything here, anything along here. Okay, it still shows me that I have issues here. What are those issues here? Probably this validation of mine has issues. Probably my validation, let me change it to decimal. I want to see what is the issue behind. Cycle invalid data. This is an issue. My telephone numbers are evaluating to errors, and yet these errors let me check between 0 and 9999. Okay. For this column, I'm going to check. Let me see. For telephone number checking. Sorry. Cycle validator. That's why my invalid data are still violating to more than 255. this valid data, this invalid data. I'm going to remove this checking for telephone number. Okay, let me change my custom number. I'm going to change my custom number to see if this is a number. My checking for telephone number, I was looking to if the content of this cell within this column contains only numbers. The issue with the existing validation, I see it to be should not I should have not used this interval between 0 and 999. I should have changed this to custom. Excuse me, let me first plug in my computer. I don't have looks like I don't have enough I don't have enough energy in my computer. Excuse me for the disturbance. The issue I was experiencing here is that I do not, for checking telephone number, I should not use decimal numbers, but I should use custom and then check if the content is a number. Is number. Then I use I2. Let me check. Okay, let me check if this is now correct. Okay, I think it is correct now. Is it okay? What's wrong? Okay, let me check. Find number. No, let me change. I'm finding errors. Finding number. Excuse me, I'm expecting this to evaluate to true, but I see issues with it. Allow me to skip for this column because for now I think this function should work, but I don't know what is the issue behind. Let me allow me to skip this column for now. I promise you to make another separate tutorial for you to be able to evaluate column related to telephone numbers. I'm going to skip this for now. I shall do a separate column, a separate tutorial dedicated to this telephone verification. Sorry for that. I promise I'm going to remember it and do it for the sake of addressing this issue, because for now that function should be okay, but I don't exactly remember where I am committing an error. Sorry for that. Let me proceed to this edge. This edge column should be between 0 and 50. Let me hide this column for it not to disturb me. I am going to encircle invalid data. Okay, I am going to find if there is any ear. Why? I see this ear. Sorry, let me excuse me. Should I remove it? No. Okay. I am going to incycle invalid data in this. I see there is an issue. 75 should be evaluated to should be evaluated to should be evaluated to error, to invalid, less than 50. Let me use less than 50. Less than 50. Let me see. Oh no, sorry. I need to use this whole column. Okay. Less than 50. Whole number. Less than 50. Is it okay? Then I'm going to incycle. Okay, I'm going to incycle invalid data. Let me check. Let me put it like 51 here. Okay. Let me select like 75 here. Why is it not cycled? Why? I know this should be cycled. Less than. Excuse me, I don't know what is the issue behind. I need to find it out. Let me check. Should not be less than. See it like this. Why is it taking sin? If I put 75 here, Excel denies. But if I come to find if 75 here has been cycled, it is not encircled. There is issue. Does not encircle it. Let me select only 75. Then I'm going to encircle invalid data. Why? No, I don't know. This Excel is weird now. I don't know what's the issue behind. What I evaluate here should work for this 75, but it does not do it. What's wrong with me? And yet if I put 75 here, it does not. This is weird. Sorry about that. This is weird. Excel does not. For you who is following along, you can just check with yourself and see. I don't know why this is. Let me for now delete this column. Let me check what is the issue. Cycle invalid data. You see, if I remove that column, it now cycle it. You see, Excel sometimes it works in a weird way. I don't know why. It now evaluate this 75 to error, but before deleting the other column, it didn't. Why? I don't know. Probably Excel has gone crazy. I don't know. But for now, what I wanted to show you is that any number that is beyond my range should be evaluated to error. These all this whole number 73, 75, it is beyond 50. Let me change my criteria to make it 75. Okay, if I do and I encircle invalid data, you see, let me find everything less than 75 is going to be okay. Is it okay? 75 should be cycled. Let me check. I don't know. This Excel has gone crazy. I don't know what's happening. 78. You see, this 78 should be evaluated to invalid, but Excel does not evaluate it to sorry, this Excel is weird for now. Let me delete this column and evaluate it again. Let me check if it still now it does not evaluate it. Let me arrange this column to the from largest to smallest. I'm going to save this and I'm going to cycle invalid data. You see, let me select 78. You see, still 78 does not evaluate to, and yet my maximum number should be not greater than 75. I don't know what's wrong with this Excel. I don't know, but I'm going to cross by here for latitude and longitude. It's okay, I have not made any restriction on it. Oh, okay, I did it between 0 and 99999. Is there anything so special on these columns? For now, I'm not trusting my Excel. It seems to be not working as expected. For this, I assume that my Excel is going somehow crazy. I don't know why. You see, 82 cycled 79. You see, 79 cycled. This 79 is the same like this one, but this one is cycled, this is not cycled. Can you imagine? I'm going to leave this behind. What is essential here, I was showing you how you can go from scratch with your data set, how you can go from creating data validation for your data set and be able to find all the existing errors and how you can correct them immediately. For now, we are settled to do some kind of data cleaning by using data validation for a whole data set. We have also looked into the ways of using how we can use data validation, how we can make restriction for emails. We saw how we can use custom functions by combining multiple functions to restrict how email should be. We saw how we restrict the input for email. Email should have @ should have dot, should not also contain space between characters. that is restriction that can be put to emails. I think that is all for today. Let me thank you for following me along, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you have not done so, and may God bless you. Thank you.